J.M.W. Turner, a painter who pushed light, weather, and emotion to the very edge of recognizability. He began as a topographical prodigy, then became a radical who blurred the boundary between representation and sensation. Look at his sea storms, his burning cities, his trains through rain. These are not just scenes. They are experiences, rehearsals of how nature and technology feel. Turner painted battles and sunrises, steam and sails, funerals at sea, and the glorious end of a fighting ship. He worked in both watercolor and oil, often sketching in the field and translating memory into dramatic washes of color. His canvases can be intimate or vast, precise or exploded into pure atmosphere. Above all, he taught viewers to feel light as a subject in itself. Stay with me and you'll hear the stories behind the great canvases, the inventions, the scandals, the friendships, and the obsessions. And discover why Turner still changes the way we see. Before we dive in, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support helps us keep creating more educational videos like this one. Turner's education began early. Born in 1775, he was admitted to the Royal Academy schools at the age of just 14, already showing extraordinary facility with watercolor and topographical views. In his youth, he made small, luminous studies of ruins, bridges, and coastlines that read like notebooks of light. Look at his Norham Castle dawn paintings, delicate washes that transform architecture into atmosphere. These early works reveal a precise observational hand that would later become far bolder. Turner also painted self-portraits and small figure studies, using them to test tone and temperament. The discipline of the sketchbook, quick ink, transparent washes, rapid notes, remained central to his process throughout his life, a constant dialogue between field observation and studio invention. Turner's first real shock to the public came with his dramatic historical canvases. Snowstorm, Hannibal and his army crossing the Alps, is a perfect example. A chaotic whirl of wind and snow where figures and elephants are almost lost to the elements. Turner was obsessed with the sublime, the sense of awe and terror that nature can provoke. In the snowstorm details, you can see how he dissolves form into motion, using scumbled paint and energetic brushwork to simulate swirling air. Critics at the time were divided. Some called it a visionary triumph, others dismissed it as illegible. Turner didn't care. He was interested in feeling, the sensation of being overwhelmed by weather and scale. Sea and sky are where Turner's imagination most often roamed. He painted the brutality and grandeur of the ocean with equal conviction. The slave ship, also known by its long title, Slavers Throwing Overboard the Dead and Dying, Typhoon Coming On, is one of his most morally charged seascapes. In that canvas, vivid sunset color collides with a violent storm and a sinking ship, and the scene reads as both natural catastrophe and human horror. Around the same period, he painted Peace, Burial at Sea, a restrained, almost abstract meditation on loss and light. And The Fighting Téméraire, a sentimental elegy for the wooden sailing navy, shows a ghostly warship towed into the industrial age at sunset. Even when painting specific episodes, the Battle of Trafalgar, for instance, Turner lets atmosphere do the narrative work, letting smoke and spray stand in for action. One of Turner's most startling moves was to embrace the new technologies of his time. In Rain, Steam, and Speed, the Great Western Railway, a steam train plows through a blurred landscape of rain and light. This painting is not a technical study. It's an evocation of speed itself, the sensation of travel compressed into color and rhythm. Turner was fascinated by the acoustic blur of industry, chimneys, iron bridges, locomotives, and he translated machine motion into atmospheric effect. He captured the collision of centuries, the age of sail declining while steam and rail remade the world. The same painter who mourned the Téméraire could also celebrate the tempestuous energy of progress. Turner was also a chronicler of spectacle. He witnessed the Great Fire that consumed much of the Palace of Westminster in 1834 and produced several dramatic paintings from memory and sketches. These works, various versions of The Burning of the Houses of Lords and Commons, show flame and smoke turning architecture into a living, glowing force. Turner's interest was not only documentary, he used the event to investigate light's power to transform matter. The public flocked to see these paintings. They were vivid, immediate, and a little terrifying. Turner became, for the public imagination, the painter who could make catastrophe beautiful without diminishing its seriousness. Turner's travels shaped his palette. His Venetian scenes, such as the sun of Venice going to sea, are studies in reflected light. The city dissolves into gold, pink, and violet. In other late works, like The Golden Bough, he layers mythic content with luminous technique, turning classical themes into color experiments. Trips across the continent, Dordrecht and Dutch ports, the Alps and Italian lagoons, fed his interest in how different atmospheres alter tone and temperature. Even familiar subjects, such as small coastal packet boats or a Ramsgate shore, become opportunities to rethink color relationships, from delicate morning mist to searing sunset. Technically, Turner was a relentless experimenter. He worked in transparent watercolor, dense oil glazes, and sometimes used unconventional methods, rubbing, scraping, varnishing, and reworking surfaces until they sang. In oil, he would build luminous veils by layering transparent pigments and then lift paint to create highlights, occasionally adding body color for punch. Many of his watercolors are astonishingly modern: loose wash, abrupt accents, and a compositional economy that feels like the notes of a composer. He kept thousands of sketches, and his habit of converting field impressions into atmospheric memories is central to why his finished canvases feel both immediate and dreamlike. Some paintings carry an explicit moral charge. The slave ship has become a touchstone in discussions about art and conscience. Turner painted it in 1840, the same decade when British abolition was recent history but still raw in public memory. The canvas juxtaposes a brutal human act with a spectacular natural cataclysm: the crimson sunset, the tyrannical sea, the tossed corpses. Turner's image refuses easy sentimentality. Instead, it makes the viewer confront beauty and horror at once. He also used public exhibitions and the Royal Academy platform to provoke debate. His works could be praise, protest, elegy, or spectacle all at once. Turner was famously reclusive in later life. He lived long enough to see his reputation polarized. He cultivated friendships with writers and critics, John Ruskin among them, but he also died a complicated man, leaving thousands of works and the Turner Bequest to the nation. That bequest flooded British institutions with drawings and pictures, forever shaping museum collections. Portraits of Turner show a man less theatrical than his canvases: private, witty, and always testing the limits of perception. Over the century that followed his death in 1851, painters and poets continuously reinterpreted his daring experiments with light. Modernists found in his dissolving forms the seeds of abstraction. Film and photography have repeatedly referenced his treatment of atmosphere. Turner taught us to look differently. He asked viewers to feel wind and rain, to sense the weight of smoke and the ache of a dying ship. He showed that painting could be a language of sensation as much as description. Whether you stand before the fighting Téméraire or the trembling light of a Venice sunset, Turner insists on presence, on the fact that light itself can be a subject and that emotion can be painted like weather. His legacy is not only in museums, but in the way artists and audiences still measure visual experience against his daring. If one thing survives Turner's audacity, it is the conviction that painting can change how the world looks to us.